See how it went back into the video? It went back into the channel. We got back to the place in which we were before. We got back to the male and the female place in which we were leaving off last time.
Good afternoon, Posse Ground Park visitors. Thank you for enjoying your park. Just to make note, dogs are not allowed on the fields. Violators can be fined up to $2,500.
Whoa.
We ask that you visit the dog park. We appreciate your cooperation. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you all got that too, but apparently no dogs in the field here. Only at the dog park. If there are dogs in the field, it's going to be $2,500 fine. Possibly. It could be that. Most likely it won't be that from the way that she was saying that, but it could be that. So you got to watch out. So you see, that's the reason why we're in different places right now when it comes to the way in which I'm able to speak to you and the way in which I'm able to speak to others. So when we're coming to a new person, we just have to have it to where I talk to them. You know, if we bring them to the level of understanding in which we have come to ourselves, well, we've had a lot of weeks pass by. We've been together for a very long time. Now, this makes it seem as if, to maybe other people, maybe it's been a short time, but for me, it's a long time. We're here in the present moment. We're here accurately aware with everything that's occurring. It's a very long time. Nobody been able to stay with me for this long. People who stay with me for a few days tops. 4 days, I think, was the longest. That it worked in a good sequence. I've been with other people, but that was when I was suppressing myself in order to be able to be with other people. I have not been suppressing myself, so you're the longest somebody could be with me without me attempting to harmonize with them. We are harmonized, and we're harmonizing extremely well. It's beautiful. Great lovers, great friends, great whatever, guides, wonderfully learning in symbiosis with each other. All the things that you do that seem to be in dissonance have been the greatest of perfections. Everything. I got agitated at the light. You slowed me down in a way. Well, I was very sped up just before that. I was really getting this big ego mind. I was like, oh, I'm walking away from her. I'm seeing all these amazing angel numbers. It must be because I need to be free. And once I'm free, everything's going to unite with me like this thing in the past. I'm like, oh, yeah, we're doing good. And then it stopped me at the light. Of course, the light was bright. And it was right. I got to the light exactly when it had the walk. So really, I could have walked across the street and been like booming, you know what I mean? Super strong, you know what I mean? But I stopped. Now, this was huge for me to see that there was the perfect path, that I was hitting all these angel numbers, perfect, perfect, perfect. I mean, it was crazy. You should have seen how many of them. Like, it was like insane amount. Like, this, I mean, we see a lot, but holy crap, what I was seeing, I was like, oh my goodness. And the way that it was relating, the things that was on my thought, or the focus that was on my mind, all of these things, the way my internal dialogue, the narration of how I was viewing all these things and all the things going on, it was like boom, 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 boom. And it was going boom, boom, boom for a very long time too. It wasn't just like boom, boom, boom for a little moment like sometimes we may have, or we do have pretty big ones as well. But this was like back to 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 back, and it wasn't letting up. Usually it would be like a let up point, but it was like nope, we are not letting up. Here we go, boom, 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 boom. It was like whoa, this is amazing. So by the time I got to that light, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to stop and wait, and it whoop, nope, bam, go across, and I'm like, you where is she? Oh, she's like 5 miles behind me. I'm like, shit. And I don't expect you to be able to keep up with me. I felt bad immediately. But I looked at you and I was expecting you maybe to like speed up with me. I was like, okay, you can see I'm stopped. I'm waiting. But you didn't speed up not one step. You didn't even attempt to speed up. You must have been so tired. You're like, I cannot even speed up at all. I'm going literally my top speed right now. But you didn't say that, didn't give any gesture. It was like kind of just like, and so I'm sitting there and I was on a super acceleration. I'm like, oh. And when you don't speed up in any way, make any acknowledgement, none of that stuff, I'm like, how does she not know exactly what was happening for me? Or were you not in the same channel? We were just super duper insane rising. Did you see me get to the light right on time? It's time for you to run. Run. That's how I felt like. Come on, you must run now. We made the light. We got it. I opened it. Here we are. And you didn't do anything. And so there's no communication. I'm sitting there waiting, all that. Super slowed me down though. Way crazy feeling of stagnation. And so when you go up to this high frequency, how do you think it is that you drop? Density. How do I drop? Well, the universe has had to give me great injuries and great depression and great insecurity, great this, great that, in order to get me to drop my frequency so that I can come back to the place of centering and stillfulness, in this amazing place that is kind of neutral, instead of like this great positive or this great negative. It's this in between space, and so I get placed in this very subtle, deep place within myself, constantly return to the moment, return to the breath, release. Okay, all that happened, but here we are now again. No, our here now isn't that, "Wah!" And it isn't that, it's that, you know, place of emptiness, a place where no context and not dialogue, no anything, it's not a problem. Maybe you feel good, maybe you don't feel good, whatever, you're not having any emotions hitting you there. And so it always brings me to those places, again, and then we get our eyes again. So I had a giant, beautiful sand mandala experience right there on our walk in, and I got sand mandala real fast. And I mean, I got sand mandala because I was with you, and like maybe I need to not be with you. Maybe I would have accelerated and skyrocketed. Who knows? That's how I was feeling at that time when we got to the light, and I was like, oh man, how could you not speed up? How could you not use your voice? How could you not just say something to me? You say, oh, I waved my guitar. I was waving my guitar, go on without me. You could have yelled. It's like, nah. We're always talking about the voice and communication. Always talking about how you could be louder. You could just be loud. It's okay. It's all right. You definitely have a voice that has the capability of being loud. Everybody can make a loud sound. And you do have a higher pitch being a woman, but I've heard your deeper voice too, and I heard you singing your very beautiful medicine songs last night in the deeper woman voice. So you do have a deep warrior tone, I'm sure. Yes, you could have yelled, and you didn't yell. Whatever it is, you did the thing that you did, and it was perfect what you did. I responded to it in a place of agitation, in a place that felt like I was, in a rate of stagnation. I was having this huge acceleration, feeling really good, kind of attached to it, like, yeah, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, and then boom, no more. And yeah, perhaps it was my thing, I could have just left knowing that, here we are at Whole Foods, you can come join me. I'm going to stop here in just a second. There's no reason for me to wait for you. I just get worried about you is all. I don't want to leave you behind or make you feel like I don't love you or any of these things. I don't want you to get hit by a car because I don't always, think that you're very clever on watching things. It scares me, the times that when you almost got hit by people, by cars because you weren't watching because you were in your mind or whatever was happening. And at that time when I yelled at you, I was like, no, 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 at that time is the worst time ever. There is nothing I could have done to save you from that guy who was driving. We were just very lucky that him moving so fast was ended by him actually looking the direction of his driving. But finally, when he looked the direction of his driving, he had slowed down enough that he saw you just in time. Because when he looked that direction, his next motivation, his next thing, I know it. I know the pattern. I used to drive fast. I was a fast driver like that. I know what he's doing. And that's the reason why he was in that other lane, the left lane. He didn't want to be in the right lane because even though he's turning right, he needed to be in the left lane because he's about to make a very fast turn right. And so you want to take a little wider turn when you're doing that. And so that's why he was looking like maybe he was taking a left-hand turn. But no, that's because he was about to speed up really fast. He was about to hit the accelerator. And if he would have hit that accelerator, he would not have been able to move his foot fast enough to stop you from getting hit by that car. These things worry me. I'm not used to traveling with someone. I'm not used to traveling with a younger woman either. You're a young girl. You're 22. You got your family. Your mom wanted to take a picture of the license plate when you left. I want to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure you're okay. I don't usually have to defend or protect myself in any kind of a manner, but I know there's predators. I know there's all kinds of things. So I'm watching all kinds of karmas and whatever it is. There was a time when I had stopped on the street just before that. I always stop. I always wait to cross the street until you cross the street. This time I was just on a really large acceleration and flow, and so I was like, oh my goodness, what has happened here? This is very difficult. And so somehow, in some way, we've been able to bring these people into some kind of a thing. We brought to a very beautiful heart teaching, brought us to a beautiful centering, about the male and the female. Both of us were sharing tears with each other, looking in each other's eyes. But for me, the tears I was sharing were not just the look into your eyes, but it was very much the look into your eyes. It felt so intimate, like maybe we were talking about ourselves in some way. And this is always what we're doing, so that's why it feels so intimate and feels so beautiful, because this is an intimate story that relates to everybody's soul, the old and the young, the male and the female, these things. So when you come up and this thing had happened, we're talking about the perfection of everything that you've done. So it makes it look like, I mean, what could you have done? You could have not done anything greater. You could judge yourself a million days for this, but there's nothing you can do. All you can do is to tell me, hey, asshole, this is what's going on. I'm doing my best. And you're allowed to do that. It's okay. You are doing your best. You're doing wonderful. I was just like, use your communication or something, because that's what, was the big thing. It was like, your voice. We have a million things happen, and your voice is all that is necessary. Some kind of motion, some kind of anything. Why was I so far ahead of you? You could say, hey, I can't keep up. I told you many times, if your legs are sore, if I'm moving too quickly, you can just, use your voice, and it's no problem. You can use your voice.
Why should I slow you down? That doesn't make
Hey, I
any
love
sense
you.
to me.
It's why we're a team. You're not slowing me down. You maybe think that you can, but here we are together. Maybe you slowed me down because I was going fast and now I've slowed, but that doesn't mean you slowed me down. Like I say now, you've kept me in the very perfect position of my path. When we stopped at that light and we had that agitation and we moved through these different things, which is all things that bring to the surface, things that are very difficult for us to come to, because we've hit a comfortability with each other. We love each other. How are we going to continue to agitate each other? How are we going to continue to help each other grow? Unless the moment brings us scenarios that allows this to happen, then we'll never have this happen. It has to just come up spontaneously, authentically. I'm not going to force growth. You're not going to force growth. Neither of us are going to force it. We both love each other. We can become so comfortable that we lay in each other's arms, making love for the rest of our lives and doing nothing else. We can do this kind of wonderful, relaxed comfortability. And this is beautiful. Surely we could find this some joy in this. But is that what's of the highest benefit? No, what's of the highest benefit for me personally is the constant blooming of my lotus and the sharing of the blooming, or whatever it is, the constant sharing of experience, the helping through this, the liberation of all of consciousness. I look into the world and I see, oh, there's all this dissonance, oh, there's all this, and no, there is a ridiculous harmony, there is a ridiculous perfection. But I myself can always be very honest and aware, like this beautiful butterfly. You should have seen it. I wish that we had two cameras going.
It was flying behind you the whole time.
Oh, beautiful. And now it came to both of our images. So this great perfection, We can see it, we can do it, we can say this, we can say that, whatever it is. Anyways, we need something to help us provide the agitation, We need something. So this was a very quick flow. What happened to me to put me into such a confusion as to not see how you're very perfect in all these things? Well, it's not about that. It was about the voice that we got into. It's about your ability to use the voice and your lack of ability to use the voice. Because we've talked about this a million times. How quick it is to use the voice. Now, this may seem unimportant. Why is this guy always saying this to me, this thing about the voice? Well, why is a girl able to be raped? Or why is a girl able to have this happen? Why is a girl able to have that happen? Why does a girl have to be in this situation? Actually, why does anybody have to have these kinds of things happen? Now, there's all kinds of reasons and karmas why these things may have to happen because of a karmic backlash that's completely permanent. We can't stop it from occurring. It has to occur in order for us to understand something, who knows. Typically, if it's been a long time, the releasement of judgment can free us from those types of karmas, the forgiveness and unconditional love applied to everything. But it's because we cannot use our voice. Wow, my back is very hurt because of that position. Oh, gotta keep ourselves in good positions more now. I mean, that's so tight. Oh, so tight. I have to pee. I'm gonna go pee real quick. You like to talk to anybody, you can talk to them, or else you just take a little quick intermission. You don't have to stop the channel.
I don't know. I've been telling him this whole time that he doesn't have to slow down for me. I understand that we're a team, but I feel obligated to speed up, I like being pushed. But I also know when I'm not capable, so I'm trying to come into that moment of expression and be
So yes,
honest with myself.
something is going to have to happen to help us, agitate as well. Were you saying something to him?
Yeah, I was finished.
Very beautiful. yeah, we're gonna need something to help us agitate our growth, you know. And so we got to have this beautiful thing about the throat, and it's very difficult because you're with somebody for a very long time. You want to be very sweet, very kind. You're kissing, doing all these things. You want to be very, very this way. But is that going to agitate growth again, or are we going to be moved into complacency? You know, relationships in this world are constantly just sustaining each other's misery. You see somebody who's been together for the entirety of their lifetime. They're very similar people. They do a great thing, but are they learning and growing in their consciousness? And how fast are they learning and growing in their consciousness? Are they just sustaining each other? Are they just like, oh, okay, we can do this, kind of like a sustainable community? How they just sustain one another's misery. That they have a teacher come, a person that doesn't vibe with the tribe. And this person is like the greatest teacher that could ever come to them. In Buddhism, they say if you banish this person, you have banished your wisdom. You have banished your teacher. This guy, he's annoying you. He's giving you the most rippling and trouble and triggering. Oh, you don't wanna tell that guy to go away. You want that guy to stay with you. Why? Because he's your greatest teacher. Oh, you say he's teaching you patience. He's teaching you this. You can go ahead and you can get rid of that person. But somebody else is going to have to come to give you that teaching. So I don't know why you would get rid of that one. I guess you're going to have to get a new one now. And then you get rid of that one. You get rid of that one. And then you get rid of that one. I mean, geez, how many do you want? You might as well just work with the first one. But, it can be very difficult to work with the first one, and we might want to get rid of the first one. And it may be very beneficial to get rid of the first one, as it gives us some space from our teacher. And we're like, oh, okay. And maybe we become ready to get the next teacher, and be a little better next time. For us, we're moving through places to where, there's a lot of channels happening for other people, and you're sitting here, you're behind the scenes. You're able to be distracted, you're able to have a lot of less pressure, but eventually, certain things have to happen, and so I get moved into this place where I'm in this super flow, and then I get stagnated. I get this huge, whoa. But why? Well, we don't have communication. We don't have and maybe it was my fault, we could have come to, of course, I'm a very responsible, aware person, we could have come to some form of communication that says, hey, sometimes I'm going to accelerate like this, but this is our first day in this rate of acceleration because Mercury retrograde just finished. And so the night before, when I did that dance at night, the thing that I did at nighttime, the night before at that place, the Javelina den, I was looking at you, you weren't doing anything again, you could do a little nod or something that tells me that the blank stare was the thing. I was like, do you remember?
I was
Yeah, it's okay.
picturing it in my
It's
head.
very beautiful. This is another form of communication, So we can just be like, oh yeah, that's right, that's me. I'm not. So that's the thing I'm talking about. Distracted behind the camera? No, I'm talking to you. I'm not just talking to the camera. I'm looking up at you. This is the camera here. I'm looking at you. We started this flow in a conversation with me and you, and I'm doing my very best to bring the viewers and yourself and me into a steady, equal place so that we can all move together forward, at the same spot. That we know what's going on with me and you, we know what's going on with me and them, what's going on with the world, we know what's happening here, in a way that we no longer have to talk just me and you, and then just me and them, and then when we talk together, we get this mixture. Now I want to take no more of that, and I want it to be fully mixed, all the way mixed. Anybody that I'm talking to, I want us all to be up and up on what's happening with each other. Now this is like a transparency that could make somebody feel extremely vulnerable. They may not like this. But if I was ever to be in a community in this way, we're learning and growing. I have a core group of people and students really dedicated to the flow under me, or around me, is together with me, however we wish to see in a way of equanimity. If anybody wishes to compete with me, then they can go learn from somebody else. I don't have any time for this. I am a high level of realization. If you have a higher level of realization than me, then please come be my teacher. I would love to learn from you. I'm a very wonderful student. I am very respectful. I'm very easy to harmonize, and I pay great honor and respect, and I'm a wonderful listener. I breathe forever with somebody. I am not in the need of a teacher. If you come up and you want to teach me, then I'll learn, maybe. Depends on what it is you're trying to teach me. If you're not trying to teach me the curriculum in which I'm following, then I probably don't give a shit about what you have to say. But maybe, if there's something I have interest in, then I would love to learn from your teaching. But, you come up and you just offer your teaching without any of my consent or anything, then that's no problem. I'll listen to your teaching without my consent. I don't need to have the consent. You're a free person to express whatever you want to whoever you want, wherever you want. Now, if I don't want to hear it, then I'm going to express whatever I want, how I want. And if you give me a teaching, I'll say thank you for your teaching, and I might give you a teaching in return. Pretty much, if you come talk to me, I am the kind of person I'm going to give you a teaching. You don't have to ask me for my teaching. I'll give it to you. You may not like it. You may not want it. But if you come up to me and you started talking to me, you want my teaching. That's the only reason why your heart came to me, is to have my authentic expression. You didn't come to me to get some other guy's expression. You didn't come to me to force your expression, or maybe you have. Maybe you just came to express at somebody and not even be there with another person. And if you've come to do that with me, I mean, you can just talk to a tree, you can talk to a wall, you can talk to that guy over there who likes to do the same thing. Me, I'm not, I'm kind of busy growing, and I don't want to be slowed down in that way. If I think that it's going to be a benefit, of course I'll be with you. You know, I love you dearly. That's great. But I love you dearly, and I let you be free of me, and I let myself be free of you as well. If that's what's necessary of our highest benefit. If there's benefit, I'll be with you forever. I'll listen to your mundane nothing for a long time. But I can always feel if there's a benefit or not. And so if there's no benefit, I'm going to tell you I don't believe there's any benefit, and there's no reason for us to be doing it. So for us, you know, agitation gets provided. So as I'm all agitated about this and about that and about my slowing down, which is really the tone of a slowing frequency. You know, again, it brings me into injury, it brings me into fear, it brings me into sadness, it brings me into all kinds of things that will bring me into this madness that is the present moment. But it will bring me into the exact syllable chord structure in which I need. So I needed to accelerate to the point of the light, and I needed to slow down. I don't have a lot of things in this life that have the ability to slow me down anymore. I treat them kind of as obscurations or distractions. Usually the world will send me dogs. Dogs will come up and start barking at me when I'm juicing the energy too much for the people around me. They're like my little symbols of God or consciousness embodied. They come up to me and they try to bark at me and try to get me to stop, try to distract me, try to break me my focus. Because if they can break me my focus, then I'll stop my focus. And every time they stop my focus, and it does work, an amazing synchronicity happens right there, like almost simultaneously with the breaking of the focus to show me that was good. Please let your focus be broken or you're going to break yourself. And I'm like, oh shoot, you know, I get fixated so quick, but it's necessary for me to become fixated so I can bring these juice accelerations, but they feel good. You see, energy feels really good. So something has to get you to stop, you know, but how are you going to know when to stop when you're not in your mind, when you're not choosing? How are you going to know? I mean, you've just felt the feeling that makes you feel as if the thing you're doing is the only thing you ever wanted to do, and it's the greatest thing you've ever done, and it's the only thing you'll ever want to do, so you're staying in these positions forever. You're hitting a position in a channel, and you're releasing so much attachment that there's nothing else in the world but the movement, so much to where you don't have any desire to even leave the movement anymore. You don't have a desire to smoke your cigarette. You don't have a desire to do whatever it is. If you do have a wonderful desire such as this, oh, thank goodness that you were able to be broke from your focus, or else you would have trailed off into that liberated state. Maybe you would have ascended, or whatever they say, you know, whatever it is. But that's not for us here today. You know, we're trying to stay with everything in a real beautiful, amazing way. And so it comes and it breaks me. Now, there are certain things that cannot break me anymore. You know, I'm really in it. I'm like, oh, you know, I don't want to be broken. Or keep going farther and farther and farther. Now, that's wonderful for me to have that. It's necessary, because then I can keep going further than the last time. I never go, oh, this is the pattern I stop at. This is where it wants me to go. I never fixate in that way. Never too much focus in that way. We continue to rise. We continue to rise. You know, so each time I get moved further and further. The last time that I had dogs try to break me, the dogs were no longer able to break me. Many dogs come up and I was like, no, they're like my thoughts. I'm done with them. Here we go. You know, man, finally I got through this flow. Really powerful. It stopped on its own. And then a girl shows up. Now this was a big trying to stop me. You know, I almost didn't let her too. I was like, I looked at her and I stopped for a second, but she had come right when I had finished the flow. And so it was important for those 3 dogs to come. Otherwise, I would have tried to start a whole another flow. I was really into it. I wasn't noticing what was happening around me, you know, because I was in my own self, in my own flow, channeling the energy. By the time she'd come, I was able to take, you know, an actual evaluation of the area I was in, the festival I was at. And I could see that in the middle of the daytime, the second day of this festival, everybody was tired and drained. It was not like a time when they should be tired and drained. I mean, this might have been more like the first day of the festival, really, because the night before was just kind of like the crew and stuff, but who knows. So it's odd for everybody to be already so tired, but I've seen that before, you see. So for me, I understood what it was because I had seen it before. I've been in a lot of ceremonies. I've been in a lot of activation positionings. I've channeled energy from many places. I've gone anywhere I go. I'm channeling the energy constantly. The whole time I'm there, uplifting the frequency, doing the work of everything, following the breath, being completely still. You're right here, present all the time. Every time I've been to any place, I'm never not doing that. I thought maybe I won't do that this time. Because, it's kind of a lot of work, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just enjoy, or, it's also, kind of a lot of pressure. People think of it as a weirdo, maybe we can do it, kind of different, no, it doesn't do that, always the same, and it's kind of good to go in there loosely, with an I don't know type mentality instead of like, I'm going to rock this frequency, and then you can really be moved into the place of harmony that's a benefit for everything in the unity of its growth. And so at the end of ceremonies, very powerful medicine ceremonies, I'm always like skyrocketing. I feel like continuing going. I want to go for the rest of my life. I'm like, oh yes, keep going farther, 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 farther. But as it turns out, everybody else is quite tired at that point. When I'm about to take my next drink of ayahuasca, or if I'm about to do anything, I'm like, oh, everybody else is like done. And the sun is coming up. Like the sun is rising. It's like, oh, the night really has been all the way over. I thought we were here for like just a couple hours, or we have the whole night to go. Are we going to keep rising? Are you sure? Okay, we're done. And you guys are very done. And now that I realize how much frequency affects frequency, I can tell that when I rise my frequency higher than what other people can for a longer duration, which they can, I have the ability to burn up their circuitry.